What we don't want you to do is come into this space and the first thing you notice is the lights or the taps or the stone bench. What you want to be doing is walking into this house and just looking out into the bushland. And I think that's what happens because of how stripped it is. The architecture isn't the thing you're looking at, you're always looking at between the architecture. The El Paso house, which is in Bardon, in the foothills of Mount Coot-tha. It's an old Dan Callaghan house from the 1980s. When we first came through the house, it was quite dated, the interiors, but we were struck by how radical it was actually, particularly for an 80s house. This house has literally no internal circulation, and we were really struck by that and by proximity to landscape.
The planning of it's quite ingenious as it works with the existing gum forest. The topography is pretty much left untouched, so that all the native vegetation and ground cover is sort of quite settled around the pavilions. It had been designed quite well in that because we're in the shadows of Mount Coot-tha, the orientation is somewhat lessened because we're under the canopy the whole time, so the sun, the dappled light is basically the whole day. I think there was a freedom in designing it, the sort of the trees and the topography were the things that determined the layout.
The clients are from down south, from Sydney, and they'd bought this house during COVID. In terms of a brief, it was way less about what we would call a real estate brief of numbers of bedrooms and bathrooms. All of that was here. The brief was much more about almost like an aspirational quality of how they would like to live. It was really to try and simplify the experience of living in the house and connecting it to the bushland.
We often in all our projects try to choose 2 or 3 materials and then saturate those projects in those materials and embrace their characteristics, their flaws, their strengths and weaknesses. But can we do something with the space with less materials? Having 5 materials in a space or 1 material in a space, I think we'll always go for the 1 material.
The exterior, there was a lot of different surface materials and textures. Our job was just one of just making it feel much more simple and cohesive. That was a really simple strategy of playing up the external nature of the circulation and the skin of the building and trying to unify that through the singular colour.
We've used dark colour system before just to recede it into the shadows and make the gums come out and the green. There's so much green and brown through the forest floor.
And then countering that with making a really internal gesture by the warmth of the timber and simplifying these internal spaces. So you would always sort of get glimpses of that warmth as you meander through the trees. It's something that we often pursue in the work is that the materials that you choose aren't stuck on surfaces. It's more of a 3-dimensional immersion in a material. So then the bathrooms are just everything's tiled, including the bench tops, and similarly with the timber in these rooms or the dark colours on the outside. And I think even the lighting, I think it's more about the paper gives an amazing warmth to the light that I think plays up that idea of the interiors being a really warm thing and being really aware when you're inside the building and when you're in those sort of passageways or the circulation spaces. There's a couple of new skylights and targeted western openings into the kitchen, for instance, that you wouldn't often do in a normal project. but because of the canopies and the foliage, it makes for like really animated interiors because you've got really high contrast light moving around the space during the day.
As an architectural gesture, we weren't really doing any more that was already done. It was more just trying to sort of reduce it to enhance that circulation and also that proximity to landscape. For us, we treated it more as a rejuvenation. It's not heritage, it is very much a subtropical way of living. It definitely embraces that vernacular of tin and weatherboards that was more so in the 70s and 80s. And our approach was to almost celebrate their construction really, rather than impose another layer of architecture over the top of it.
The redesign of this space that we're in, the kitchen, living area and dining, it used to be a full height thing to the back, to this western elevation with a more traditional island bench. We kind of felt like if we wrapped that and made it more generous, the kitchen, then we'd get sort of the opportunity to have 2 more openings that would work passively. And then centralise the dining space underneath the new skylight. And then reorient the lounge around the fireplace at the other end. But there was an existing fireplace that we just retrofitted. The main change, the master bedroom, there was 2 tiny windows facing up to the bush, and we just joined them into a big window that could give access up into the cavity and reoriented that room towards the bushland. The things that sum up the project for me are these little, much more subtle moves that I think is probably Dan's work originally, where he's chosen to put windows like in the toilet down in the guest room. There's a trunk like right there, almost to the point where you can't open the window. And I think this window behind us, this west-facing one into the kitchen, was just a massive get because that wasn't on our drawings. And you could just see that opening and you could see the trees through there, and particularly as you sort of come around here and you can see the massive Tallowwood there. It's those opportunities that I think it's a much more subtle moment, but it's kind of what the house is all about. When you move around the house, you're constantly being shifted around and finding new things to look at or new view paths. And that's not our work, that's Dan Callaghan's work. It's very hard to achieve this level of proximity to landscape, and it's not just the view at it, but it's the varied views of it. You know, you move around the contours. Sometimes you move along the contour, sometimes you lift it up, sometimes you're touching a tree, sometimes you can just walk straight off the deck and onto the landscape. There's a real livability to it. It's not for everyone. There's mosquitoes, there's midges, there's flies, there's lizards, there's snakes, etc., etc. We're less than 5k from the CBD of Brisbane, and you would not believe it. You feel like you're in a world away. I think they're brave clients buying this house. It's been built really well. Like, the house has got great bones. The restoration of it, there wasn't much of it that was too bad. And then I feel like we've just added to its sort of original presence. It was really to try and simplify the experience of living in the house and connecting it to the bushland. We're not interested in making overly opulent or overly decorative buildings. I feel like we want the building to just sort of feel like a lens in which you're experiencing the place that you're in.